Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're doing a VCT EMEA season preview for the team Koi. So Koi is a team owned by the Spanish streamer Ebuy. It is also now under new ownership group with him still involved. Their previous ownership group didn't seem like they really cared that much, and it was definitely a disaster for this team last season. Starting off with their 2023 placements, their lock-in placement was 17th to 32nd, losing their only match, and then in the EMEA regular season, they placed 9th, so they were the second worst team in the EMEA league. And then at the LCQ, they do a little bit better, placing 3rd, but ultimately do not qualify for champions. So it was just a bad situation overall. The players were not happy, and there was definitely some drama behind the scenes. So what they decided to do after the new ownership group has taken over, which this roster wasn't finalized until a couple days ago. I literally could not do this video until like 2 days ago. So for players out, it is Trex, Coldamenta, and Wolfen. Players in include Camo, Shadow, and Grabino. Championships won by the Org R0, and for their 2023 MVP, I chose Trex. Trex was a very good player for them last year. He is now on Team Vitality, and he should improve that team a lot more, but he will not be helping out this team anymore. Wolfen moves on to a Tier 2 team, and Coldamenta has recently left, so he doesn't have a new team as of recording. Camo, Shadow, and Grabino are all players that played in Tier 2 systems last year on different teams. Shadow being on the team Apex that did do very well in the Tier 2 system last year, but ultimately could not win the Ascension tournament. So moving on to the 2023 stats for all of these players, starting off with Shados, he had 510 kills, 470 deaths, 183 assists for key ratio of 1.08. He played Killjoy, Breach, and Viper last year. Shados previously on Gambit, who did win a Masters tournament in 2021. This team definitely did not do as well as that team did, but he still performed pretty well, and it is still good for this org that they kept him because he is a solid player, and hopefully if this team improves, we'll see his stats get a lot better. Moving on to Starzo, who is this team's IGL. He had 473 kills, 529 deaths, 285 assists for key ratio of 0.89. He is this team's IGL, and he played Omen, Sky, Raze, Sage, and Breach. So Starzo, formerly a Champs winner on that Ascend team in 2021, being a part of the very first roster that won the Champions. Definitely a down year for him. He hasn't been able to reach that level again, but he still is a solid IGL, so I do expect his numbers to get better. So hopefully he can get back to that level and, use his experience to IGL this team to some better results. And if he doesn't do that, I don't really expect him to be on a Tier 1 roster next year. Moving on to Camo, their duelist pickup from the Tier 2 system. He had 1,020 kills, 761 deaths, 518 assists for key ratio of 1.34, playing Jet, Neon, Raze, and a bit of Omen there. So Camo was a very good duelist player at the Tier 2 level last year, clearly from his stats, very solid there. So hopefully he can translate it to the Tier 1 level and, be able to perform well against some other duelist in the Tier 1 system, because it will be tougher competition. And that might be why his stats are as good as they are, because his team, being one of the better teams in the region that he was playing in, definitely probably helped those stats a bit, because when his team got to Ascension, they didn't exactly do well. Not that that's his fault or anything, but hopefully he's able to improve his play for the Tier 1 level. Moving on to Shadow, who was on the team Apex. He had 793 kills, 798 deaths, 571 assists for key ratio of 0.99, playing KO, Breach, Sage, and Sky. So mainly an Initiator with a bit of Sentinel in Sage there, and decent numbers for a Tier 2 player. You definitely want that 0.99 to be higher, but at the same time, he's not exactly playing roles where you really need frag out. Initiator should have better key ratios than that, but he literally just had 5 more kills, or 5 more deaths, than he had kills, so it doesn't really matter too much. Still an overall good player, should still be good for this team. We'll see how he does. Moving on to Grabino, he had 795 kills, 747 deaths, 313 assists for key ratio of 1.06. He played KO, Breach, Viper, Killjoy, and Astra. So Initiator, Smokes, flex player. We'll see if that's the role he has on this team. I would expect that to be the case. Looks like he had a decent year overall last year, so again, we'll see how he adjusts to the Tier 1 roster. That is a question that I have about these Tier 2 players, and every other team that has just picked up a bunch of players from Tier 2 for their Tier 1 roster. We'll see how these players adjust, because that skill gap isn't huge between Tier 1 and Tier 2, but it definitely is going to be an adjustment for some players. So hopefully for Koi, they won't run into that adaptation problem. But overall, this roster, while it has been constructed very recently, and I don't expect them to be good right out the gate because of that. Overall, they don't look terrible on paper. Like, Camo definitely looks like he's going to be a good pickup. Shados and Starzo are still very good players, so maybe they might be past their prime because, they were two players that were very good in 2021, both of them winning tournaments. They face each other in Champions, actually. So you have 2 experienced players and then a bunch of tier 2 players that, were on teams that did perform at least overall pretty well. So I don't know if I see this team being particularly bad, but the fact that they have just, been constructed very recently, I don't expect them to be looking good at the gate. But do I expect them to be last in EMEA? Honestly, no. I actually think that they have a decent chance to at least, be competitive for like the middle of the pack, making playoffs, potentially making an international. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. But hey, crazier things have happened. Moving on to their map pool last year, it was really bad. They did not have a winning record on any map. Starting with Split, 2-2 record, attack was 53%, defense was 50%, Ascent, 3-4 record, attack was 44, defense was 52. Yes, these are their best maps. Their worst maps were bad. Lotus, 2-5 record, attack was 34, defense was 49. Pearl, 1-3 record, attack was 44, defense was 50%. They also went winless on a couple maps, but they didn't play those maps that much, so I decided to include these instead. So Starzo and the coaching staff should have their work cut out for them to adjust to the new map pool. They don't have to deal with Pearl anymore, but they're going to have to find a way to be dominant on maps, because not having a winning record on not a single map, that is definitely very concerning. So hopefully with, a new assistant coach and, just a new, way of thinking about it, they could improve that map pool, because that would be a key to their success. Overall, as I said, I don't expect this roster to be good out the gate, but I don't expect them to be last either. They do look like they have some decent players, some decent pieces here. It's just a matter of making it all work in the very short time frame that they've given themselves. I'm sure they've been, scrimming on their own, or just like doing like little practices or tryouts or in trials with these players, so there's a chance that the chemistry does work right out the gate, but I definitely think it's going to take some time for this roster to gain any ground. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think Koi is going to be a good team this year, or do they have similar struggles to what they did last year? This is my last season preview for the EMEA teams. I've gotten through all 11 of them. It's been such a grind to get here, but I finally completed the EMEA teams. They're done. So I have 2 more left. I have Rex Regum, Keon from Pacific, then I have Sentinels from Americas. So stay tuned for those videos. We'll be doing those, finishing the season previews, and then we'll do pick'ems and power rankings. So look forward to that. Those videos will be coming within the next couple days. Please click like if you enjoyed the video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.